We're shooting.
Ride.
All right.
Let's
Welcome
go.
to the Otown Talk. This is pod number 3. We got my best friend Paige to the left. We got Braden and Vince over here.
What's up, y'all?
And yeah, so this is Paige. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Paige. I'm 24. It's weird when you turn a new age and you keep wanting to say the old one, and then you got to think about it for a second. Like, oh no. So yeah, I'm 24. I grew up in New York. My grandparents are your neighbors, so I've known you all my life.
Yep, whole time.
I enlisted in 2017. I was in the Army for about 3 years. In 2019, I had a brain injury, and they medically retired me from the Army. And I've just been, after having to rehab and kind of reconcile with that, I've been trying to just find my way. So,
wow.
Yeah, you've been through some crazy.
Yeah, I've been through some interesting
situations.
shit. So
honestly, if you're down to go into it, the story of how you found out was so crazy.
I was
how you were
say,
in line for the drug test.
Yeah. Fun morning. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You want to tell us a little
So
bit?
wait, what's the story of how you found out you had?
So I was actually here visiting my parents on like a 4-day weekend that we had. I drove down. I was hanging out. Nothing, all is norm in the world. I had actually just gotten back from Budapest like a week prior.
Holy crap.
Yeah, because I was out there for a couple of months.
And you were stationed out there in the Army?
So I was there on mission with the Army. I wasn't stationed there, but I was living in the Hungarian quarters, like just supporting their military on mission. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I had just gotten back from that and all is well in the world. Like I said, I came down here, I hung out for a couple of days, went back to work. And then I wake up in the morning, drive myself to work, normal day. And then they're telling us, oh, like everybody, we're going to go to battalion and do a drug test. So start lining up. We're doing it like right now. So whatever, we drive up there while I'm in line, and I just start getting this crazy headache out of nowhere. It just came on real quick.
While you're in line?
Yeah, but just while I'm in line, I'm hanging out, I'm chatting with, my battle buddies, all that bullshit. So hanging out, and then the headache starts to get to the point where I'm like getting vertigo. And so I'm like, all right, I don't want to be that guy and make this weird because we're like doing a UA, but I'm going to step out real quick. I'll be right back. So I went out behind the building. And I'm just like trying to get a breath of fresh air. And then I just start projectile vomiting, but it's crystal clear. Like buckets and buckets are just crystal clear. It looks like I drank a bottle of vodka for breakfast and then just kind of came back up for lunch. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know that was normal to happen. And so I went back inside and I went to my leadership and I was like, listen, is there any way you can push me to the front of this line? I can piss for you guys because I'm not trying to get out of anything, but I think I have to go to the hospital. And they were just kind of like, yeah, I guess that's fine. So I had to wait like 20 more minutes. And then I drove over to Womack and I went in, I told them, I was like, hey, like, I was having a normal morning and then this happened and they were like, all right, we're gonna do a scan just to like make sure. So they gave me an MRI right there at Womack. And then they were like, you have a golf ball size tumor in your right ventricle.
Holy shit.
We can't treat you for that here, unfortunately. So we're going to put you on a helicopter and we're going to medevac you up to UNC Chapel Hill. So they did exactly that. They put me on a helicopter, sent me to Chapel Hill.
So sorry to interrupt, but I'm curious, like, what was your like initial reaction?
That's what I was going to ask too.
I'd like to preface all of everything that I'm saying by speaking on this. For me, it feels a little bit like I'm telling a story. It doesn't totally feel like it happened, honestly. Even after years of like processing it, it really doesn't feel like it happened to me, although it did.
Right.
So everything that I'm speaking on is mainly just stories I've been told, pictures I've seen. I keep a super detailed diary ever since, just because cognitive memory issues. So a lot of this is just based off of that and less based off of actual formulated memory. So just a preface. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough coping with, having to surf through life and figure out how to do it a different way, just because you spend most of your life thinking and acting a certain way. And then something like that happens, kind of shakes the boat a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you still have any, like, I guess, cognitive issues?
My memory isn't great. So I have this app. Literally, it's called Diary app. All it is a notepad with the date on it. So every day I like to go in and just write like a little bit about like what I did and like what my experience was. I keep a super detailed calendar and like all of those things just so that I'm able to be accountable for my days. Because sometimes I have really good weeks and I'll remember like everything. And then other times I notice like it's a little bit more questionable.
Right.
So
I remember when your memory was like very short.
Like 10-second Tom type
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
You'd be like, so when's the Halloween party? It's tomorrow.
Yeah. Anyways, so what time is the Halloween party, by the way? I was like, all right, bro, come on.
No, I mean, obviously I understood, but it's crazy how far you've come just in the past couple, because this is what, like a year.
That's what I was going to ask.
It was October 2019 when I got diagnosed.
Wow.
And then it was about March 2020 when I got released from that hospital visit. And then shortly afterwards, they ended up having to do more surgery. And I had to go to rehab at Tampa, I think. And then I had to go back off and get more surgery. And then it was this whole, it ended up taking like a year and some change.
Right.
Wait, so you said you were in the hospital from when to when?
So I got diagnosed in October 2019, and then they released me from the hospital for that visit in around March 2020.
Oh, wow. So you were just in the hospital for that many months?
So I was in and out of the hospital a little bit, but for the most part of those months, I was in the hospital because I had gone for my original, like I said, I was at work, normal day, started throwing up, went to the hospital. They medevaced me over there. I get there. They're like, yep, brain tumor, golf ball in the noggin. Like we're gonna deal with that in the morning. So call who you need to call. And I called my parents. My dad got in his car in New York and started driving. And my mom was here at the time. She got the next flight and, came up. And I blacked out for a couple of months after that.
Wow.
And then, I'm here now. It's been a couple of years. I think I blacked out, but.
Right. I mean, hey, you're killing it right now.
I mean, it's amazing that you're still here. I mean, truly, like that's incredible. And that's scary. So what was the time frame? So like when you found out to you like getting into the medevac and then being in the hospital, like what was the time frame?
See, like I said, like my timeline on the whole thing is a little wonky, but as far as I know, I went in there, they looked at my symptoms, they did the scan, read the scan within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And then maybe even less than a couple of hours. And then they were like, yeah, that's what this is. Like, we can't treat you for that here. Put me on a helicopter, send me to UNC. And then, like I said, the next morning was when I ended up getting the first surgery.
Wow. Holy shit.
They did the first surgery and I was straight. They were like, you're good to go. They sent me home. All is well. It was a head wound, but I was all right for the most part.
And was this when you got released in March 2020?
I think this is sooner than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so they had sent me home and again, all is well in the world. I was, I guess, like back to normal, whatever. And then I started to get symptomatic again. A couple of weeks later, I started to like I had some paralysis on the left side of my face. Like I almost looked like a stroke patient. Like, you know how like one side of their face doesn't have expression.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just kind of blank on one side. So it was like that for a little while. And I had some speech stuff. And then the left side of my body, like I had a little bit of mobility issues. And just because, fun fact, the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body and vice versa.
Yep.
So, yeah.
With the right being.
Interesting.
Yeah. So right brain, left body, my left side was paralyzed for a minute. Hate that for me.
Wow.
So you got the surgery. They said it was successful.
Yes.
And then sent you home and then you start showing symptoms again.
Yes.
So it wasn't successful?
So it was not successful. Sorry. We missed a piece actually. We're gonna pop that cap. We're gonna go back in. No problem.
Just a little complicated.
Yeah, no. They're like, yep, no big deal. Just come back to the hospital. We'll go back in there. No big deal. And I'm just, all right, I guess. So I go back. My mom, she comes back again and they take me back in. They do the second surgery. And then I start getting really sick right after the second surgery.
Oh, shit.
And they can't figure out why. And then they realize that I developed a condition called meningitis, which it's an infection in your meninges. And I had one of my symptoms was hydrocephalus, which is water on the brain.
Oh my God.
So pretty much what was happening was the tumor in my ventricle damaged the ventricle, and the ventricle is like the pool pump for the water system in your head.
Mhm.
And my pump broke. So it just stopped. My fish tank stopped cycling pretty much.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So everything shut down, and I started getting sick because I wasn't cycling that fluid. And that's how they found it. And then again, the meningitis made me start having hallucinations and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And that's what gave me, I have like a really mild case now. For a while, like we said, it was pretty bad. I was on some 10-second Tom shit. But now it's not too bad. But there was a time in the past when my memory was pretty quick to go.
Mhm.
Did you like notice it? Would you think like, man, I can't remember what happened? Or was it just kind of like,
See, I feel like for me, for a while, my mind like fabricated memories and kind of just put them there because it didn't know what was real and what wasn't.
Right.
And then after a certain period of time, I think that stopped and it became more just, I know generally what I did, but I can't remember the details to it very well. So it made me unaccountable in a certain sense.
right.
I thought. So that's why I started taking notes every day. And I was like, well, if I just document everything, then
There's no way. Yeah.
There's no way I'll forget.
Exactly.
And that obviously like helps you moving forward with everything. Like that's so what has been like the recovering process? Like what has life been like since that moment's happened to you?
I mean, it's been challenging just because, like I said before, I was 20 when I got diagnosed.
Mhm.
So obviously up until that point in my life, I had changed I'd changed X amount of times.
Mhm.
As
But
any
that-
20-year-old
as,
does.
you know,
Yeah,
as
of
any
course.
person
Yeah.
does. But I feel like being that so young when it happened,
I was just gonna say.
I think kind of, I'd like to believe that it's still reparable, that I can, I mean, I'm aware that I'm capable of turning it around. I have the resources, I have the means to do it.
I mean, look at you have,
But
though.
I feel like it's been one road bump after the next.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'll be real with you. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing with myself. And I don't think anybody really does.
That's so
It's
true.
No one does.
I have to remind myself of that a lot because I feel like in my mind, I'm like, everybody else has their shit together. Like Bailey knows what she wants to do
No.
and she's doing it, and,
I picked a path and I aimed to dart.
And I'm
There it
starting to
is.
realize that's what life is. You just pick something and you run with it. There's no like prophesize, like right and wrong. Like
I think it's pretty rare that somebody has this ideology where they're like, yep, this is exactly what I want to do. And this is what I'm going to do. And they have like their 5-10 year plans, whatever. My sister was like that.
my sister was like that. Yeah.
What does she do?
So Shayna's a nurse now.
Oh, well, my
Mhm.
sister too.
She tried a bunch of things, but this
Didn't
is where
stick.
she landed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotcha. My sister's always known that she wanted to be a nurse, but now that she's here, she has like so many doubts. She's like, man, this job fucking sucks sometimes. Like I wasn't planning on this. And
I feel like every job sucks once you get it.
oh, for sure.
It's like it seems very exciting, and like
At
in the
first.
beginning it might even be like not bad, but like at the end of the day, like work is work.
Exactly.
yeah, you're
You
there for
know,
9 hours of the day
yeah.
minimum. Maybe
And
not minimum, but
I
some
don't know.
people.
It really just boils down to that. Like work is work at the end of the day. Some work is harder than other work, and in some scenarios you get paid more for said
Mhm.
work, and it's like, all right, this is worth it.
Yeah, right.
But at the
For
end of the day, work is work, and nobody,
Exactly. But I think that's awesome how you have found what you wanted to do because of everything that's happened. So you just got your yoga certification. I would love for you to talk about why you chose that.
That has been an incredibly healing experience.
Oh, hell
for me.
yeah.
I got into yoga when I was at rehab, and it was one of the few modalities that they offered me for therapy that I found like enjoyment in.
Right.
Because all the other therapies, it's like, I don't want to do this bullshit, but I know it's like beneficial for me to get out of being here.
Mhm.
Right.
So, but the yoga was the one thing that it allowed me to look forward to something and allowed me to kind of show interest in something again, because for a long time, I think that, so with the part of my brain that was damaged, my emotional abilities were impacted like deeply on top of all the medication that they had me on and the SSRIs and stuff. Like my emotional regulation system was like
how so?
So, like I said, they had me on a lot of drugs for a while, and I think that kind of just it messed with my brain chemistry a little bit. Plus the fact that they actually like cracked my thing and
well, I mean more so that. Like what were the symptoms? Yeah, the symptoms. Yeah.
So, like I said, I had some paralysis for a while, but I think the behavioral symptoms were more so like for a little while I was really childish. In like a more than just behaving childish, but like I had childlike tendencies. Okay. Like I was actually acting like a kid for a little while.
Did you feel like it too? Like
again, like I don't really remember that well. It's hard to say, but I think for a while I did feel like a kid because all of a sudden it's like I went from working a full-time job. I was in the army. I was living on my own for the most part. You know, I wasn't living with my parents or anything. I was out in the world, and all of a sudden it went from that to like my mom feeding me breakfast and like making sure I don't fall in the shower, you know, like
did you start playing chocolate milk pong again?
I did start playing. I found that
it never goes away. Never goes away.
So I want to hear a little more about the meningitis. Is that how you pronounce it? Meningitis.
Yeah. So it's an infection of your meninges in your brain.
Like, so how did that, so I know you talked about like it pulled your brain essentially like with fluids.
So your meninges, as far as I know, I might not be completely accurate on this description, but your meninges serves as like a filtration system.
Okay.
For your brain, and it's associated with like your memory and those kinds of functions. So I developed a condition called hydrocephalus, which translates to water on the brain, because I had meningitis. Therefore, my meninges wasn't operating. So it's like my filter was just turned off.
So were the symptoms for that the same or different than the symptoms from like the tumor and after they messed up their surgery?
They were pretty similar, like a lot of the throwing up, the fluids and stuff, because my body didn't know what to do with
that. Stuff was spinal fluid, right?
Yeah, it's
the clear liquid from the.
It was 100% cerebral spinal fluid that just was leaking into other places of my body because my brain and my spine didn't really know what to do with it, you know. And they were kind of just like, "Hey,
we'll put it there."
One of the other systems like take this. I'm doing it right now.
And what was the doctor's approach of like correcting the meningitis?
So, Dr. Sasaki Adams was the surgeon that I had the most rapport with, I would say. It was Dr. Sasaki Adams and Dr. Cools. Very cool man.
And they were great?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, my mom would go on and on for days about the team that I had there. They did some really great work for me.
That's awesome.
And it was, the UNC really came through with their staff for all of the treatment that I needed.
And so what was the treatment process for that? Was it like surgery like the tumor? Or?
Yeah, so for the meningitis, they had to go back in and they had to, honestly, I don't totally know what they did to treat the meningitis. I'm sure they like gave me some kind of antibiotic or like something. Okay. And then so I developed a condition called hydrocephalus. I think the water on the brain.
Yeah.
And because of that, my brain couldn't absorb fluids anymore. So I had to have these valves put in.
Oh, wow.
To like drain it, I would think, right? That's what I was going to say.
I have these valves and these tubes, and it's like I said, like essentially like a water pump in my head. And the tubes take the cerebral spinal fluid from my brain and just it goes to my stomach and I piss it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that still something?
Yeah, they're in there
permanent.
forever.
Right now, like that's going on.
So that's permanent.
Yeah.
They feel like I felt them before. They feel like two.
Me and Bailey had a moment the other night, and I was like, I want to touch my robotic. You know what? I would love to.
I'm honored.
That's crazy.
It's so interesting how far like science has come that you're able to do that, man. Right?
The fact that they're able to bring people back from things like that is just bizarre.
That's actually like genuinely surprising because our last podcast or the last host only, I was actually talking shit about the medical field.
I was thinking about that.
I was actually talking.
There's a lot of places in the medical field that I have a lot of negative shit to say. I've got my bitching and griping in a certain place. Like I said, there was a little while where I saw I had to see the bills, and I have to, even now I pay for a percentage of my treatment that the VA doesn't completely cover, like the co-fees and shit.
Yeah.
But then I think about it and I'm like, normal people who don't have health insurance the way that I was fortunate enough to, something like this happens to them and it takes everything.
Yeah.
The life's over, basically.
That's what I mean, because you're in debt forever now and you didn't do anything.
And there's nothing that you can do about it. Yeah, unfortunately.
That's such a godsend that you went into the military.
Oh my God.
Like, had you not done that, and then like that time period where you could not work, you physically could not work a single job, like, and not being able to receive like disability from the military, anything like that. Like, I think about that and I'm like, thank God, thank goodness you went down that route, because I can't even imagine the shit show that
I got fortunate in a certain sense too, because I was I was nearing the end of my contract when this whole thing had happened. I was within a year, and then COVID happened as well, and that kind of made everything happen.
That's what I was going to ask. How did that like affect the process, the healing, like everything?
Experience of my entire life. I can only imagine. Because when I went in for surgery, it was a normal, pretty world. To some degree, obviously the world had its shit already, but it was a normal world for the most part. Yeah, relatively normal world. And then obviously what happened, that freaked me out a little bit. And then I wake up from surgery and they're like, actually on the news, like it says that this Chinese virus is like killing everybody. And, like things are going bad and we're locking down. And like, I was just, this is not real.
I could not imagine waking up to that.
To this day, I'm not entirely sure that I didn't like shift paradigms. And like, I can't say with absolute certainty that's not what happened.
I can imagine.
Could be.
But
you brought us into this world.
Like I said, it was a normal world.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got sick and then they knocked me out and I woke up and the world is ending.
And the whole world is like sick.
Jesus.
And now this is the reality that we're in.
What a crazy time.
I will say like that kind of goes to show, sorry to interrupt you, but that kind of goes to show like that I'm not like a religious person, but whatever you believe in, like whether it's the, universe working itself out or whatever, like you being blessed by like being in the military, having that happen. And it seems like if you have like a positive outlook on things and you seem like a pretty positive person, it seems like things just work themselves out. You know what I mean? I try
to be, just because the way that I've been made to see it is that you can be miserable and nobody, all right, I'm not going to say nobody cares. People care. There's good people in the world. Plenty of people care.
If you're miserable, though, people stop caring.
Exactly. If you're miserable, at the end of the day, that's a problem between you, and nobody's sucking more in that situation more than you are. Nobody's getting anything out of such a thing, So if you need to be miserable for a little while, be miserable.
Yeah.
Feel your pain, feel your hurt. But at the end of the day, you got to pick yourself up.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to do it for you. So.
And keep it moving forward.
Yeah. Got to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Like I said, nobody else is going to show up and do it for you.
No. So like when you woke up to like the whole COVID incident and stuff, like were you like scared because like you were in the hospital? Like were they trying to like keep you locked down in there? Like were you obviously like more susceptible to others?
They
did you get COVID?
I did not get COVID that I'm aware
of. Ever?
I don't believe so. I'm not under the impression that I ever had COVID. I got the vax. They made me get it. But
understandably.
I was still in the Army at that point. I hadn't retired yet. And they were like, yeah, you're getting this vaccine. We don't really give a shit.
Is it true that if you didn't get the vaccine, you would get like dishonorably discharged or something like that?
So if you're in and you have no like medical reason not to get it, and then like if you do have a medical reason, like in my case, you can like fight your case and they'll make certain exceptions. But in most cases, it's like get the vaccine or get out. We're gonna chapter you.
Wow.
You're done. Yeah.
I heard that. I heard that happened.
Yeah. So that's a little shitty if you ask me, but that's how they do it. So
it's interesting.
That's crazy.
Well, you got the vaccine for a much better reason than I did. I did it just to go on a cruise.
That's a valid reason.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
That's a valid reason. You know, you got it so that you could go enjoy yourself. I got it because these motherfuckers told me I had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where was your cruise to?
I think it was just a Bahamas one, like a quick weekender.
Something like that.
Perfect day at Coco Cay.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Did you ever get vaccinated?
I only got once.
Is everybody here? Did we all get the jab?
Seems like it.
I did not. I'm not.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
have no reason not to. I just never felt like I was super busy during that time, and I never found like the
Never
time
got
to do
around
it.
to
And also, I hate getting shots. Like I don't know. I'll get piercings all day, tattoos, no problem. But when it comes to shots, I'm very scared of that.
Kinda the same
Just
way.
intramuscular stuff just freaks me out. And so I was never forced to by a job or travel or anything. So I just didn't. I have no reason against it. Which I got COVID one time. And I felt
You had
like
it bad, right?
I felt like I
I
was
had
gonna
it terribly
die.
too.
Shit.
I wished at that time that I got
If you
it.
had it, then you like have the antibodies or whatever for it.
Yeah. So I'm fine
You
now.
might as well have the vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not
Your body
really.
naturally.
But it mutates. So I could get like a different strain, a different time, and then it would be the same or similar circumstance. But
I think that regardless of what side of this whole situation it seems that we're on at this point, I don't think it's going to be something that it's ever removed from our lives. You know,
Yeah.
I think that this is kind of,
Unfortunately, yeah.
unfortunately, I think
Like the
it's-
flu,
This
hopefully,
is a
hopefully it
thing.
downgrades to like
I
flu type.
It seems like it's chilled out.
potentially with time, just because, like you said, it has chilled out quite a bit. Obviously, a lot of like most things are up and operating in person again, and that's
Mhm.
not so much of an issue. But you always hear these news stories about, oh, the virus adapted, mutated, and now we have a different strand of it.
Yeah.
we need to
It
get
was
a
like
different
that every
vaccine.
it was like that every week at one
Mhm.
point. It was just
Oh,
like
it
what
was
do you-
with
rich.
the
Yeah,
flu,
it
it's
was
the same
bad.
way.
Yeah, it
That's
was
why you
bad.
have to get your flu shot every year because it's a different
Well,
strain every
yeah.
single time.
I mean,
So,
we can't go too deep into like conspiracies
Yeah, no.
on COVID because YouTube will take our shit down. But I do want to say I wish I never got the vaccine.
Mm.
That's all I want to say.
A
So
lot
you
of people say that.
stay where you are.
What do you feel like the vaccine did to you?
Personally,
Yes.
I mean, I will say so. It's an intramuscular injection, right?
Mhm.
And there's actually been something. There's been some stuff out there about how you can feel it forever. Like certain people, I'm one of those people. I can always feel it.
Like
in
it's
there.
always just tender.
Yeah. Well, not like it's like a weird. It's almost like a nerve. Like I
I don't
can feel it
even remember
up
what
my
arm I
neck.
got
Oh, I mean, that could just be the person who gave you the injection and hit a nerve or something. Like, it's,
Well, apparently it's very common, and like that's never like that. That's not a common thing for other vaccines or injections.
mm,
And it like sits in there, like it's something in there, like it's still in there.
I
You know
don't
what I mean?
I don't
So-
know. Your body filters that stuff out. Like it could. I mean, it could be that I'm just.
I mean, I'm saying I
like,
personally feel it.
it could be that during that time they were very short staffed on medical personnel. So it could
I got
be
it done
that
at
there was
Publix.
very inexperienced people giving injections.
That's true.
Like I worked a job where I was a medical assistant and I was very, very inexperienced giving injections. So I would not be surprised if the first few of my patients have that same reaction.
I
where they're
just
like, I feel that stuff still to
My
this
ma-
day.
my main thing is like I said, I can't go too deep, and we can talk about it off the pod.
Yeah.
But I've just seen a lot of stuff about consequences of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave it there. And I'd rather be somewhere where I don't have to worry about some of those consequences possibly happening. And I hate that I did it just so I could go on a freaking cruise ship for 3 days.
Right.
I mean, I got it and I still got sick with COVID.
Really?
I got COVID
really
before
bad.
I got it.
I've known a lot
Eh.
of people to have like been fine through this whole thing, never
Yeah.
gotten it, and then
Mhm.
got the vaccine and then got it.
Yeah, like it was weird. Like I got it and it was a few months after me and my dad took a trip to New Jersey for a concert, actually to go see Pearl Jam.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know how or why, but I got sick with it there and I lost my smell, taste, felt like shit. Like I just really felt like bad. But I mean, I was down for probably like 2-3 days, like kind of like not feeling that well. But after that, I mean, I felt fine and I haven't been sick like that since. And I don't typically get sick.
I could
Thankfully.
be incorrect, but I think that they came out with like a thing that the vaccine, it wasn't necessarily supposed to prevent you from getting COVID, but just to lessen your
Oh
symptoms
yeah,
of it.
more than like yeah. But either way, yeah, I still got sick with that shit. Cause I when I got back, I went and got tested and it came back positive.
Do you want
the
to
same
move
thing.
off the COVID topic?
Yeah,
we legit could get our video.
Well, I wanted to go back. I wanted to go back to what you were saying though, Paige. So you're in the hospital, you wake up, you see COVID's going on, and then you get released from the hospital. And then did you ever go back? Like what did you still deal with? Like how'd you get into the whole yoga scene? Like how is life? Is it different than what it is before? Like
It's
now that you have like the stuff?
Absolutely different.
I mean, like obviously,
in pretty
but
much every single way.
like, is there stuff that you can't do nowadays that like you're limited to doing?
So,
Like
I can never go deep sea scuba diving.
really?
Wow,
I can never. That's something
that makes sense. The pressure.
My neurosurgeon was explicit with me about that. No
Really?
deep sea scuba diving.
Is it something that you've been like interested in doing or
No,
want to
I
do?
think
Okay. I mean, I guess
could
that's
live
kind of
with
good,
that. I was
but
like, you know what? Like that wasn't really
It's
on
a
my
good
list,
excuse.
Right.
so
Yeah, right.
I guess. But other than that, I probably like I'm hoping that we never have to evacuate to the moon or nothing like that because I don't know what the deal is when it
Yeah.
comes to that case.
God forbid.
But other than that, I can get on airplanes and all that
And everything, like still live life like normal to an extent.
Yeah.
Like that's
For
good.
the most part. Like I said, I'm overall back to completely normal.
That's great.
I still have a little bit of cognitive disability.
Okay.
Just I think like I said, it's more behavioral traits and stuff that I think I deal with as a byproduct of the
Mhm.
experience as a whole.
I got you.
And obviously my memory
Mhm.
challenge sometimes. I struggle
So
with
like
that.
respectfully, like is it like does it come in like episodes like where like you have like you were saying you have like good weeks or like a good month and then like something might happen and then it's just like kind of
yeah,
like
it does. I mean, like anybody else, I think that we go through phases in our
Mm.
lives. And like for me, I feel like that happens in like 3-month spans. So like I'll be having my high highs and I'll be doing really well for a while. And I
Mhm.
feel like I'm on my shit. You know,
Mhm.
I'm doing yoga 5 times a week. I'm
Mhm.
going to the gym. I'm going on my runs.
okay.
I'm cooking. I'm
Yeah,
taking the dogs for
doing your
walks,
thing,
I'm
doing your
practicing
thing.
guitar.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the things.
Hell
and
yeah.
then something just, I don't know, happens. And then all of a sudden I find myself not doing like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that happens with everyone. I mean, that shit that even happens with me. Like, you know, I'll be chilling, and then all of a sudden one day hits, and I'm just like, damn. So then, how'd you get into yoga? So that's what you do now, like full time. Like, are you a yoga instructor?
So
Do you have like your own business?
I just got my yoga teacher certification.
Okay, cool.
Like not even 2 months ago.
Wow, really?
I just finished the program in
Hell yeah.
April.
How long did it take you to do that?
6 months.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
so
not too bad.
terribly- I got a
was just-
scholarship to do
Hey,
the program.
word
which
up.
was really
Nice.
Hell yeah, that's what's
so
up.
I got that, and my CAA scholarship from it was a grant from the Army, I think.
Okay,
So it was kind of like, oh, you don't want to like crack your GI Bill yet, like you can apply for these scholarships.
oh, that's dope. So they still helped you out with doing and paying for everything like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
hell yeah.
I did a phlebotomy program through
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, I did that through a scholarship that I had gotten through this company called NC Works in North Carolina. It turns out I don't love blood. I don't even like it, rather. So I decided not to do that. And then I was like, maybe I'm going to try to do something I actually like. And then I did the yoga program, which was super, super fulfilling. But it has
That's
been,
dope.
you know, that's one of those things that it's like, all right, like I got my certification and like now where do I teach?
Where do you go now?
So you're currently looking for somewhere to
Yeah,
teach?
so I'm looking. So I had some things lined up in North Carolina, but it's looking like I'm going to be down here for a little while. So I'm trying to find some opportunities out
Down
this
here.
way.
I know a lot of like commercial gyms will have that.
That's what my mom was telling me.
It'd be a good
lot
starting
of- A lot
point.
of gyms want to have teachers come, and there's little clinics and stuff.
It'd be a great start. That's where I started my personal training. And
That's what I
you
was
get
about
to
to say.
network a lot. Like from the personal training aspect, like I networked a lot, met a lot of people. Like my current personal training business wouldn't be alive if I didn't go to LA
Mhm.
first. Like literally I'd be making no money right now.
Yeah, I was thinking about trying to look into the YMCA and like little programs
good
like
one.
that in this area that might have stuff like that, or even like you said, going to some of the local studios.
Yeah.
and seeing like if they're looking for teachers.
Right.
So hopefully I can get into something like that here.
It's exciting.
Really
I mean, I've only,
exciting. It's definitely nerve wracking too, though.
oh, it is. But that's kind of the exciting part. Like I remember, because I'd been, in the gym since I was like 15.
Mhm.
So when I initially got into it, I'm like, oh, I know everything. It's gonna be so easy. Like I got it down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then like when you actually have to teach somebody who's just like like basically knows nothing about it. You kind of realize like I'm talking complete outsider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like totally new to the fitness
Doesn't
world.
understand anything.
Like it's hard to like break it down. You know what I mean? But you get it down throughout time. You get to
For a
hone in your
long
skills.
time, the only classes that I was teaching as a yoga teacher was like classes to other girls in my teacher training class. And then like my friends and my family and stuff. So I'm trying to branch out a little bit to like.
That's good practice. Though.
Did you end up going to like the senior citizen community?
So I did, but then that was very short lived just because they didn't have the budget for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't have the funds for it. So I was kind of just like, all right, well, I'm about to go down to Orlando for a little while anyway. So let me see what my opportunities are there and then I'll reevaluate.
I've been to a couple pop-ups where, so like one, for example, was in downtown Sanford. It was at the DV and Wolf. You probably haven't. Have you guys heard of that? It's a brewery in downtown Sanford, but on like Sunday mornings, they offer a pop-up. And it's you go up from like 10 to 11 or whatever. And then if you go, you pay $15 for the class, but then you get a free beer after. So they just close down the shop. And then, if you purchased a yoga ticket, then you come in with your mat, or they had a couple mats and blocks and stuff. And you could go and do your yoga for an hour and then you get a beer after. It was really cool.
You know what though? I have a couple of yoga mats at my house.
Yes,
ma'am. We could go back over there later,
Let's do it.
Let's
do it. Yes, ma'am. I got a couple. I think I have 2 in my car. So we'll get the boys on there.
Yeah.
I've tried to get in.
I am not flexible.
You don't need to be. You really don't.
I should work on it.
That's
though.
a big misconception. This is a step in the right direction in order to become flexible. If that's something that you are interested in.
Well, I have sciatica.
Okay.
So I definitely want to fix that.
I feel like doing yoga would help your sciatica.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Obviously, if you do it properly
Let's
and you
do
do it at a good pace and you have a good regimen, then it could absolutely help your sciatica.
It's very healing. For a lot of different things.
I'm here for the tips.
So do you do yoga every day? Like obviously.
I try to do it every day.
Mhm.
Even like for the most part, like I'll do it on my own. I'll just like wake up in the morning and do some sun salutations just to start my day. The same way that a person would like go for a run in the morning.
What benefits have you found out of yoga?
That's what I was going to ask.
So I think that it's really helped with my, not to be like corny, but I think it's helped a lot with my mind-body connection. I think that
I wouldn't call that corny at all.
I think that it's helped with my mind-body connection significantly, and just kind of spending time focusing on the sensations in my body and my breath.
Like really feeling everything.
Yeah. Taking a moment to actually reflect on my breath and how I'm feeling and how certain postures are challenging and why they're challenging.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely been a healing experience.
The question I have been wanting to ask you though, so ever since you said the yoga thing too, so are you like religious at all? Are you spiritual or like not at all? Like
I would say more on the spiritual end, if anything, but not heavily in any department, if I'm being truthful. I've gone through phases, like as I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Like you try to kind of cling to certain beliefs in that sense, but no, not really anything.
Nothing at all. Because yoga is more spiritual kind of based, right?
It can be.
I was going to say depending on
I
who you go
that
to.
Through my experience, getting more familiar with the practice, I've definitely become more open to those kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
But in my background, no, I've never been really religious or anything like that. More spiritual.
I got you.
But
like your family and no one is like spiritual, religious really at all. Like,
I mean, my dad's side of the family is Roman Catholic. So
okay.
like,
There's
that. But
mom's side, but yeah.
Yeah. No.
So to circle like back on something we didn't really touch on too much of, I actually wasn't aware how long you were in the Army for. So I thought it was kind of a in and out thing,
No,
but
a couple of years.
3 years. So anything crazy there? Any interesting stories, training?
Yeah, no. I mean, so the number one thing that I love to talk about when everybody asks me about my military experience is this one mission that they had sent me on it was called Saber Guardian. And I spent a couple of months over in Europe. So I was in Germany for a little while, and then I was in Budapest, Hungary. And Budapest is the coolest city I've ever been to in my entire life. It's like the New York City of Europe,
Really?
But everything was just gorgeous. It was a clean city. The people were really nice. Like I was working with the natives.
Mm-hmm.
So they would take us out into the city at night when we were done with work. And it was just a really fun
Damn, that's
experience,
sick.
taking shots of Palenka.
Palenka.
Palenka. So Palenka is like Hungarian brandy.
Oh, okay.
Yum.
So yeah, that was one of our favorites.
Damn.
That's
A lot of
awesome.
fun.
That's very cool.
And so, did you travel a lot while you were in there?
A decent amount. Like I said, I was in Germany. I was in Hungary. I spent so between those two places, like I was taking the train. So we stopped in a few different countries in that area that I got to see, but like just for an hour at a time. And then I was in some of the states. Like I did Louisiana for a little while. I was in Texas for a minute. I've been South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia.
Oh, okay.
It's a good amount, yeah.
Yeah, a decent amount.
Are you able to talk about your missions, like the details of them? Or
That's what I was
Really,
gonna ask.
I could like it's nothing really
Nothing
super
special.
So you didn't have like any like scary moments or like moments of death or
No,
anything like that? Like no one shot at you, nothing blew
No,
up.
no, definitely.
No
not.
infantry.
I was never in the
Damn.
field in a scenario.
I mean,
like
thank God,
that
but
one. So
damn.
they put like I did plenty. I did plenty of training in those kinds of scenarios.
Yeah.
But obviously they were staged,
Mhm. So it wasn't like real.
Yeah, it wasn't
I got
like
you.
no real blood pumping type.
I mean, that's honestly, it's a beautiful thing. It's
Mhm.
just
Did you guys use like
insane.
paintball or airsoft for those?
Yeah, we did. So
situations? Yeah.
we would sometimes we would do paintball,
Nice.
but for the most part we just went to the range and like shot live rounds.
Did you ever
Nice.
get pepper sprayed? I've heard that that's a thing
Oh,
that you go
dude.
through, not in basic training, but
Fuck
like.
no, my friend.
Ooh,
Really?
I've heard
So
some
I had
nasty
to
things
do
about
the
that.
gas chamber.
Oh,
So that's like up
Wait.
there with what I imagine pepper spray
Yeah.
is like.
yeah.
But
So wait, so
What?
yeah, a gas chamber.
That sounds
made a-
fucking nuts.
I don't like
They
the
made
sound
us
of
go
that.
into the gas chamber,
Nah.
but no, they didn't pepper
somebody just
spray
farts
me.
a lot.
Wait, so they actually put you in a gas chamber
Yeah.
with like nothing?
So we would go in and we had masks and stuff that's how they were training us to use the masks in the
Okay.
scenarios. So
Yeah.
we would go into a building that was like out in the fucking woods and they would have these machines in there that filled the air with that like
Was it visible
The tear
gas?
gas,
Like,
right?
could you-
tear gas.
Was
yeah.
it like visible gas? Could you, see
like,
it?
yeah, it was like a fog machine. Like,
That's
you-
kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was kind of cool, but then like the minute that shit touched your skin, or
Wasn't so cool.
So you could feel it on your
was
skin and
not
everything.
cool
I was
after
gonna-
that.
You could feel it on your skin and everything.
Yeah, the-
Burns.
Burned like a
Oh
motherfucker.
wow!
Yeah.
Did you have burn scars and
So
stuff?
no, I mean, it's not the type of thing that like it's not like they threw acid on us.
Yeah.
But you felt it on your skin.
Interesting.
It did not feel good.
Damn.
And
Wow.
You went in the room and they'd be like, all right, like everybody like take your jackets off. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, could we just not? I'm already in here. Like, why do we have to do all that?
Was it like one of those things where you had to start out holding your breath and you had to put the mask on while you were in
Yeah.
there?
So we were supposed we went in there with our masks off.
Wow.
And then they would be like, they'd like,
No, thank you.
like they would be like, all right, you got like X amount of seconds to get your mask on before like the gas hits. So then we're like in a rush, like getting that.
Yeah.
You had to like pull it on. You had to like pull some strings and like slap it into the slot. It was this whole.
Did you see anyone not get it on
That's
in
what I
time?
was just about to
plenty of
ask.
occasions
Yeah.
where people did not.
What happened? Did they just get
I mean,
fucked
they
up?
didn't,
You're
like
asking
it's
a
not like
question.
they started like season and shit.
But like, like burning,
Yeah,
like
it was definitely
wow.
unpleasant.
Yeah, jeez.
I mean, there was
Unpleasant.
definitely a few times where like I kind of called it a little close when it got some gas like in my mask
I
and all
can
that.
imagine.
bullshit. Yeah, it was a messy.
How many seconds did you have?
Huh?
Ballpark. How many seconds did you have to get it
I
on?
don't remember. Truthfully. I think it was like maybe like 15 seconds.
Wow. Yeah, you got to
Damn.
go quick. I was thinking it was going to be like 45 or something.
Some quick.
Wow.
Like, that could be completely inaccurate. I don't really remember like the timeline.
I mean, it makes sense because like 15, like if you think about it, if you're somewhere you're getting like someone just threw a freaking gas grenade at you, you don't have 45 seconds.
No,
You
yeah.
know, like you gotta.
You're lucky
Yeah.
to have 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Exactly.
being considerate.
Which is why it's a good training tactic.
yeah,
I suppose.
definitely like a skill that I'm glad I have in my pocket for that time that, you know, somebody comes to my house and just starts firing tear gas.
Yeah.
But,
Totally could happen.
Luckily for my case, that training hasn't really come in handy very much yet.
Fortunately.
So,
How's the food?
bad. It was real. I mean,
I was
so
gonna say.
sometimes it wasn't that bad, but pretty much like rarely it was good.
I mean, genuinely, all joking aside, did they get you guys like McDonald's ever, or like did y'all get like Subway pizza, like anything like that?
So like once in a blue moon, our leadership would like order a pizza for us and be like, don't kill yourself this weekend and don't hit your wife, and maybe I'll buy you another pizza another time.
Oh my God.
So that's how they would kind of incentivize people sometimes.
Wow.
And, like, they would take us on these like FRG trips and they'd be like, yeah, like we don't want you to go home and hit your kids, so we're gonna go and do this water park thing today.
Oh my God.
Like, that was like once in a blue fucking
moon. Yeah.
The living situation was pretty shit too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing that sucks about the army is it's like, all right, we're gonna give you this barracks room, right? And it's gonna be roach infested, and the water is gonna never work the way you want it to, and some other motherfucker is gonna live with you, and like it was just, you know, it was not ideal. And they were like, either like you could just deal with that, and we're also gonna bust up in your room whenever we feel like it. Like sometimes, like because so they're like, yeah, you can either deal with all that, or you can like get married and move off base,
and we'll send you some
and
extra
like
cash.
those are your two options.
Wow.
Yeah, like they're like those are your options.
Guess I'm
So a
taking
lot
option
of
two.
a lot of people are like, this motherfucker's not that bad. I go to the courthouse on my lunch break.
Dude, all of them.
Yo, that's crazy. That makes a lot of sense though, as to why they all get married and shit. Because they don't have to live on there.
I mean,
It happens.
That's crazy. Wow.
Personally, I feel like everybody I've known that's been in the military for more, like just a full contract, is married.
My
Married
dad.
or was engaged.
Because you go in and you're like, I'm not going to do that stupid shit, and then you encounter the 100th
cockroaches,
the 100th roach.
You get your door broken.
You don't want
in a
Bailey
few
in that.
times.
You're like, you know what?
Save you.
Maybe that's not a terrible idea.
Right.
My dad's been trying to get me to join the Air Force for like 2 years. I'm like, I'm not joining the Air Force.
I guess I could see you doing it.
If you're gonna do something, I feel like the Air Force is like definitely the more push of the bunch.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
the Air Force, like they got the nicer rooms, like their rules aren't as crazy from what I've heard. Like
You're in less danger.
They go to the nicer
It's the
places.
easiest one, yeah.
Less yeah, like it's easier to pass their PT test.
Yeah.
You know, like the Air Force is probably the better of your choices if you're gonna enlist.
Yeah, but I'm not.
So we're going,
No,
like,
I
the
couldn't do
strictest
it.
One, like the most strict, or
No,
Strict's
I
probably
would say-
Marines,
I
huh?
was gonna say the Marines is likely what I would say to be the stricter of the bunch, and then
They got palmetto bugs.
It's like, what are like the ranks? Like what's like, so you said Air Force is like the coolest, most chill.
Yeah.
Then
so
Navy,
Air
then
Force-
Army, then
Yeah, so it's definitely
Yeah,
Air
sure.
Force, Navy, Army, Marines. And then like the National Guard is like its own fucking thing. Like they're like kind of
Coast Guard too.
Yeah,
Weird.
I mean
Own thing.
the Coast Guard, I don't know. I'm not gonna even speak on that because I really don't know all that much about the Coast Guard.
I heard it's pretty cushy.
I was gonna say
heard
I've
that,
heard
too.
cushy things, but it's mixed reviews.
You can neither
so
confirm
it's
Yeah.
I can either confirm.
I mean, if you're one of those guys jumping
Heard.
out of the helicopters to save like a fucking sinking ship, like that's crazy. But if you're just the dude going around on the boat giving out tickets,
Ranger.
Like, what the fuck you doing, man? Like,
Water cops are the
leave me
worst.
alone, man.
But yeah, so I've heard it's relatively cushy. But I mean, I feel like any military branch, like to some extent, you know, it's uncomfortable in some way.
It's all got its shit.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it all comes with its shit, obviously, as do all things.
Yeah.
If you
yeah.
really think about it, like everything, I hate to be like that bitter guy, but I feel like
But it's true.
everything's
It's life.
got its shit to it.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Of
yeah.
course,
No, you're
of
100% right.
If
You're
things-
100% right.
You gotta weigh the odds.
Yeah, if things don't have their shit, then you can't really appreciate the beauty in it
Right.
either.
And if there was one perfect thing, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
But there isn't. And, that's
And it would
why
make a
we
lot
all
of things more
choices.
boring.
Yeah.
Like if something doesn't have problems, like I mean, take it to business, for example. Business 90% of the time is problem solving. Like literally running a business is I have this problem, I need to fix it. So let's say not enough people are seeing my ad. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That needs to be resolved. So you push more so that more people see it. Yada yada.
Yeah.
This isn't running as efficiently, fix it. So like it goes into everything.
It does.
Everything's got
It
it.
does. But you got it. You got it pretty bad in there. But you came out alive. Look
They
at
got
you
me
now.
good, but
Do you
I
miss
turned
it?
out- So sometimes I miss it,
Mhm.
but then I have to remind myself, no, you fucking don't, girl.
You do a little bit of yoga, you haven't seen a roach in a month.
So that's what I'm
But honestly, like, what is it that like you like miss? Like what
So-
like
What I miss about the Army is the camaraderie that comes along with the Army. It's like, hey, like I hate my fucking life and you hate your fucking life and we got to do this bullshit, but we're going to do it together. Yeah. And then we're going to go get a beer and cry about it later and then we're going to bond over it.
I can see that.
That's dope. Yeah.
There was a certain way about it that made it have that.
Like a genuine bond.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's, again, like it's got its toxicity too, just because the stressful environment of the whole.
Besides like them kicking in the door and then like, you know, the thousands of hundreds of cockroaches, what were like some other things that you didn't like about the military?
I mean, every job has that one guy that you're just like, fuck this idiot. Like,
are the drill instructors and people there, like, is it kind of like similar to how it is in the movies or not even close?
So for the drill instructors and all that shit that you see in the movies about the military, like you'll see that in training.
True, yeah.
But that's like very performative. And that's to like straighten you out in the beginning, but it's not really like that all the time. Like sometimes once you get into the real Army and out of like TRADOC training.
Probably more like chill.
More chill, like shit like that does happen. I don't want to tell you that it doesn't, but like not in that way, that aggressive way that you see it in the movies. Like I said, that only really happens in like basic
training. So once you finish training and all that, they send you on your way. You're pretty much like kind of chilling, waiting for the next mission.
You're just chilling,
shooting the shit, talking. And
like, granted, like I said, there is some extra bullshit and like all that, but for the most part, you're chilling, you're doing your job. Every now and again, they'll send you away on mission, but I mean.
And your missions weren't anything like scary, nothing like really too like crazy.
Not for my field, just because like I worked on satellites. So they would send me into the field and I would set up comms, but I wasn't like, I had the training to like be
shoot
out
people
and shoot, but you know what I'm saying?
But you weren't carrying the guns and all that.
So like I did have to carry a weapon and stuff.
Time,
but never in a scenario where I was expected to actually use it on like a living human.
I got you.
Like it was kind of just like, we're going to teach you how to use this, but like your job doesn't like really require it, but like you're in the Army, so we're gonna teach you how to do this. Just in case.
And you said you worked on satellites, so were you more or less doing more like technological shit, kind of like in the background of your field, or was it just strictly the satellite comm stuff?
It was setting up the satellite comms like by hand, like doing all that.
And what exactly like was it that you were like? Because I have no idea what that even like means. Like what you're exactly like setting up.
We had to put together the set. So we had these trailers on the back of our trucks and they would carry the satellites and then we would hook up the computer to the satellite. And
and then you can actually see everything.
Had to like do all the manual stuff to actually physically set up the satellite.
Gotcha.
And, like put the stakes in the ground.
For sure.
And then we would have to configure with the computer, hook up to the satellite and then make it to where we needed to shoot.
And then look at what you need to look at.
And we would have, like, for instance, when I did that mission out in Hungary, we had guys in Germany, we had guys in Poland and a bunch of other countries there. And we were all communicating with each other with our satellites.
To
kind of test them because this was a new piece of equipment at the time.
So the military newer.
Sent us out there to test it out to make sure that it was feasible to send people to the field with.
Wow.
So that's
interesting.
Much the purpose that we were serving out there. To say like, this thing works.
Like we can see them, we can talk to them. Were you speaking in code? Can you like confirm or deny that?
Sometimes, granted, like yes, we spoke in code, like phonetics, but not really. For the most part, it was all
more like, yo, can you see me? Can you hear me? Yep. Okay.
I didn't have a top secret security clearance. I just had a secret security clearance. So everything all the communication that I made was like pretty base level. I never had to deal with anything super sensitive in that sense. So.
And you were in the military for, you said 3 years?
Yeah, 3 and some change.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, so I ended up being in for 4, but that last year was just me out processing because of my medical retirement.
Yeah. So I don't know if we asked this yet. What made you want to go into the military?
I was broke and I was living in New York and I was like, I actually can't fucking afford this and I don't expect my dad.
New York ain't cheap.
I can't afford to live here.
Where in New York were you living, by the way?
So I was in the Hudson Valley. I was in this weird paradoxical footprint of the world called Pine Bush. And it's not far. Do you know where West Point is? Like Newburgh?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So not far from there. I think that's the only thing I can really give for
Really?
reference.
I only have been to New York City. So if it like, where is?
Most people when you say New York, they
I was
think
just
New York
about to
City.
say.
I was if you were gonna drive in the car, it'd take you like an hour to get into the city.
Oh,
An
okay.
hour or some change,
Okay,
maybe,
okay.
depending on the traffic.
Kind of on the
But then
outskirts, yeah.
if you took the train, it was like it depends.
A little bit
Like,
longer, maybe a
probably
little bit shorter.
depends on.
What time you go, what
Yeah.
train you take. all
Like if
that.
I got up early in the morning and took like the 5 a.m. train, like I could be there by 6.
And when did you
you
come
know.
to Florida?
So
Like when you did the military stuff, or?
I came to Florida a couple of days ago.
Oh, welcome back.
Okay.
I actually drove down here
Oh, shit.
about 2 days ago
From New York?
from North Carolina.
Or from North Carolina? Oh,
Yeah, so I grew
where
up.
she currently lives.
I grew up
Okay.
in New York, and then
Okay.
I got stationed in North Carolina, and I
Okay.
retired in North Carolina.
Okay.
So that's where I'm living at the moment.
Gotcha.
But my
Where-
parents are here.
Where in North Carolina?
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville. Huh. Where is it? Is it Raleigh, North Carolina? Isn't that what
So Raleigh is about an hour north of
Oh, okay.
me.
Okay.
So
So-
So we are coming up on the end here, and you've had a great story. And
Yeah.
I really kind of, especially with the medical issues that you had to get past, and the fact that you surpassed them, and you're on this like new journey and everything. So to kind of wrap things up here, I kind of just want to say, like, do you got like a message for the people?
Message for the people,
Ooh.
man.
Good question.
I'm sitting here puffing on Bailey's vape, and what I want to say to you is like, in all the ways that you can, treat your body well, because you really only get one. I'm trying to work on myself in that sense. I'm trying to cut back on a couple of things, and I feel like everybody says that to some degree, but you really owe it to yourself to take care of yourself in the ways that you can.
And I second that fully. Being a personal
Yeah.
trainer, I'm 100%
Yeah.
with that. As I sip on my Miller Lite and puff my
that's what I'm
views.
saying. Like we've all got our vices. We've all got our vices. But if I've got a word of advice to anybody, it's to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And
Take care of the body and the
you
mental
can.
follows.
Exactly. Take care of the body and the mental follow.
Mhm.
So
Well, it's been great having you on. It was great to meet you.
Thank
This
you
is
so
the first time
much.
we've met
Thank
me
you.
and Braden. This is the first time we've met her, and you've been awesome. Great story, and
Absolutely
like
amazing.
thanks for your service as well.
of course.
That too.
Always.
Thank
you. Pleasure.
Salute.
And yeah, so that'll wrap it up. Another episode of the Otown Talk. Paige, once again, thanks for coming. And do you want us to throw your Instagram in the description? You want to give that out? Shout it out.
I truthfully don't even really know my tag on it.
All right. Well, it'll be down there, and I'll make sure to put Paige's name next to it so you guys know exactly what it is. Obviously, all of our socials will be on there as well, including our tech guy, Nick. And I'd say that's a wrap. Anything from anybody else?
The dove word of today. It's a little contradictory to your your last words, but chocolate will never let you down.
Chocolate won't let you down.
Chocolate will
Keep
never
that in
let
mind.
you
It tastes great. It makes you happy.
And neither will this podcast. Y'all stay tuned for more. Thank you again, Paige, for joining us. We out, y'all.